Hi everybody, this is Dan Stolebarger. KFIR Middle East update for the week of July 15th. And this report's coming to you from San Diego, down here taking care of my mom and visiting my son. Sharon's with me at this time, but she's going to leave in a few days. So we're outside here. I hope it's not quite as quiet as our normal studio place is, which is my office at home, but let's give this a go. Again, the week of July 15th, make sure that you go to our website at holygroundexplorations.com and click the blog button in order to access the PowerPoint PDF that goes along with what we'll do with this is put it up on YouTube. But in order to keep it concise, there's a lot of materials that I will not be able to get to that I think are very important. Just a reminder once again that 99.9% of our material comes to you from Israeli sources as we look at the world today. So some items of concern for Israel. Did you know that the Palestinians spend over $300 million a year paying out stipends for families of terrorists? When you ask the question, how can we get a handle on all of this, you have to take a look at some of these things. $300 million paid out, and again, the unbelievable that takes place when you take a Palestinian boy that breaks into a 13-year-old girl's bedroom and stabs her to death. This boy, his family is going to receive a stipend and he's going to be declared a martyr or a hero. I mean, the world is crazy, but this is even crazier than the craziness of the world, if you know what I mean. So anyhow, concern to Israel. Hezbollah, some reports indicate that they're weaker, and yet they've come out to proclaim and declare that they have amassed a larger arsenal than all of the NATO allies combined in terms of missiles. And the question has to be, where did they get all these missiles? And the simple answer is a four-letter word, IRA. And don't forget that, because when we start hearing about all the accomplishments of this president's administration and the talk about writing relationships with Iran, it's a travesty what's taken place today. And finally, Facebook is being sued for $1 billion by relatives of those that have been victims of Palestinian terror. Facebook knowingly provided material support and resources to Hamas. We already know social media is the hotbed in terms of recruitment and incitement of Islamic terrorism, and finally somebody is now actually taking Facebook to task over all of this. We always talk about how dangerous the Middle East is, and we've talked about ISIS and all of that sort of thing. And whenever we have tours that go to Israel, one of the things that we always have to talk about is the security of the people there. And I always say that I feel safer in Israel than I do here, and that's the truth. But when this kill list came out by ISIS, I have to remind people, this is not a kill list that's targeted for, by the way, who's targeted? 1,700 people are on this targeted kill list from ISIS, the notoriously bloodthirsty terrorist group. They're members of synagogues, churches, and you know where they're all located? The U.S. So keep that in mind. This target of this ISIS kill list is in the U.S. And once again, the words are always the same. The terrorist group is calling upon its supporters to carry out lone wolf terrorist attacks and urge them to, quote, kill them all, slay them. Another troubling report came out. I don't think it's a big surprise to many, but it's now been revealed that the U.S. helped fund an anti-Netanyahu campaign during the last election. It's a damning report that senators say that, from the State Department, they noted that there was a grant that was set up for a peace advocacy group and set up the infrastructure for it. But once that was set up, it was later transferred to a group that was running anti-Netanyahu propaganda and campaign in 2015. So, essentially, this group was financially supported by the U.S. government. We all know Obama's stance in relationship to Netanyahu, so that should not catch us off guard. But once again, it's unacceptable that our country would fund a campaign against another country's presidential or prime ministerial elections. Can you imagine if the roles were reversed? Temple Mount, always going to be issues with the Temple Mount. The UN Cultural Bodies World Heritage Committee is set to vote on a controversial draft resolution this week challenging the Jewish historical ties to the old city of Jerusalem, and especially or essentially the Temple Mount, claiming that it's time to return all control to pre-1967 Jordanian-Palestinian WAF. Once again, ground zero, the Temple Mount. Whenever there is a need for violence to erupt in order to manipulate governments, all that needs to take place is for the Palestinians to claim that Israel's up to something in regards to the Temple Mount, to deny the Jewish temple, to deny all the archaeological artifacts that have been found, doesn't matter whatsoever. They will claim that Israel never had a presence on the Temple Mount. And so here we go again. What will the UN do? I have a guess, but I'll let you try to figure that one out on your own. And then we talk about the anti-Semitism that's on the rise. We talk often about a biased media. Once again, CNN, I like to refer to them as the corrupt news network, the best lies that money can buy. You know what? On Tuesday, CNN published a updated map showing places in the world which terrorist attacks had taken place during the Muslim month of Ramadan, But they omitted one thing. On this map, they pointed out all the different places that these horrific events took place, but except for a few. They did not include any of the attacks that happened in Judea and Samaria. The map does not show, and as I've already referred to, the death of Rabbi Michael Mark that was murdered. It does not show the 13-year-old, by the way, she was an American citizen, Halil Yafa Ariel. They simply neglect to even report on those events. And we think it's an unbiased media. Palestinian media report is out this week. I'm going to let you take a look at that. Once again, glorifying terrorists. The reason I included this is I knew these women. I knew Kay Wilson and I knew Kristen Lucan, who one was murdered and one was left for dead. And to think that once again we're dealing with the glorification of young men. These women were past middle-aged, hiking in the forest, attacked and killed. And then, of course, these men are being proclaimed as Palestinian heroes. Unbelievable. Defiant Iran, I've already spelled out that four-letter word, I-R-A-N. They've made it clear once again they're not going to abide by any so-called anti-ballistic missile program whatsoever. They've made it clear on Al-Quds Day, chanting death to America, death to Israel. They've already sought a legal nuclear and missile technology from German intelligence. They're believed to have made clandestine attempts to acquire more nuclear materials to further their development. So, it's not stopping. It's not as if this deal has kept them from moving forward. They continue to lie, and they continue to move their program further and further ahead. And as we talked about Hezbollah having all these rockets, where do you think these rockets came from? It's very simple. IRAN. I read this and I wanted to end with this. Anti-Semitism is on the rise again, and you'll see the photo "Never Again." And this comes from some of our friends in Israel. It's very short. Let me read it to you as we conclude. It says, as the world becomes more hostile towards the Jewish people, we, specifically believers, we must stand strong on their behalf. We must learn to recognize anti-Semitism. We must speak up when we encounter it. And we must pray that our churches and our nation will remember the painful lessons of the Holocaust and that it might never happen again. So it is very important to learn. It's very important to speak up. It's very important to pray. But the last line is the challenging line. But turning the hearts of our nation towards Israel will also require action. What will your action step be? We conclude this week's PDF PowerPoint with Torah gleanings from this week's Torah portion. I find it fascinating to read the Torah portions and look for the footprints of Yeshua, Jesus, in the Torah. And it's amazing. Take a look at the red heifer, the description of all of that, and think about Jesus. And then also there are what I like to put in each week are quotable quotes. So with that, that's this week's presentation from San Diego. Hopefully be back in Idaho next week, but no guarantees whatsoever. But may you be blessed as you follow the Lord, as you walk in his ways. And let me encourage you to continue to pray for the peace of Jerusalem. Also, we have some upcoming tours. We have a work trip if you're interested. It'll be on our website. Our website's being redone, but look for it. It's called a Talmudim work trip. It will be in February in 2017. And then our big tour in in April is called Journey Through Israel. And if you've never been to Israel before, you need to go. Amen? God bless you all, and shalom.